Before you begin preparing the cake, preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Preheating the oven will allow it to heat up while you are working. Fit waxed paper into the bottom of a cake pan to prevent the cake from sticking to the pan. Begin preparing the cake by sifting the flour with the salt and baking powder over a mixing bowl. Sifting will mix the ingredients together and break up any clumps in the flour. The flour contains proteins that will create the gluten matrix and starch that will gelatinize during baking. The gluten matrix and gelatinized starch provide some of the structure that will trap steam and carbon dioxide during baking. The salt is added to the cake for flavor, and the baking powder produces carbon dioxide for leavening. Next, place the shortening in a large mixing bowl. Use an electric mixer to cream the shortening. Creaming is a mixing method that adds air to the shortening, which helps to create a light and fluffy cake. The shortening increases the fluidity of the batter during baking and contributes to a more tender cake. Scrape down the shortening on the sides of the mixing bowl with a rubber spatula to increase the amount of shortening available for creaming. Continue creaming the shortening until it's light and fluffy. Add the vanilla and continue mixing to combine the ingredients. The vanilla is added to the cake for flavor. Once the vanilla is fully dispersed, begin adding the sugar about 1 tablespoon at a time. Use the mixer to cream the sugar into the shortening. The sugar crystals dig into the fat, leaving small air bubbles. Adding the sugar gradually while creaming allows more air to be added to the mixture. The sugar is also a tenderizer and adds sweetness to the flavor of the cake. Next, separate the egg. Add the egg yolk to the shortening and sugar mixture and beat thoroughly to fully combine the ingredients. Beating will also allow the egg yolk to emulsify the shortening. The egg yolk adds color to the cake from the xanthophyll pigments and adds structure to the cake from protein coagulation during baking. Stop using a mixer after the egg yolk is thoroughly combined with the cream shortening. Finish mixing the cake ingredients by hand to prevent overdeveloping the gluten matrix. Add about 1/5 of the sifted dry ingredients to the creamed shortening mixture and beat for approximately 20 seconds or about 55 strokes to combine the ingredients. Beating mixes the ingredients together and beats in air cells, contributing to the leavening. During mixing, the shortening coats some of the flour. The flour that has been coated is waterproofed and won't form gluten. Limiting the formation of gluten results in a more tender cake. Add about 1/4 of the milk to the batter and mix but don't beat the batter. The milk will dissolve the salt and the baking powder and hydrate the flour proteins that have not been waterproofed by the fat. Hydrating the flour allows the formation of the gluten structure. During baking, the liquid contributes to the gelatinization of the starch in the flour and is also changed to steam, which helps leaven the cake. Protein and sugar in the milk participate in the Maillard reaction during baking. Continue adding the sifted flour mixture and the milk in portions until all the ingredients are combined. Beat the cake batter by hand for approximately 20 seconds after each addition of the sifted flour mixture, and gently mix in each addition of milk. The final addition of ingredients to the cake batter should be the last portion of the sifted flour mixture. Next, you will create an egg white foam. The egg whites contain proteins that will form a foam when we beat them, but fat will interfere with the development of the egg white foam. So first wash the electric mixer beaters in warm soapy water to remove all of the shortening. Then use the electric mixer to beat the egg whites in a mixing bowl. Beating the egg whites adds air for leavening, and the foam that is created provides some of the structure of the cake. The egg whites also provide protein for coagulation and provide proteins and glucose that participate in the Maillard reaction. Beat the egg whites until soft peaks form. At the soft peak stage, the tips formed when the beater is removed fold over, forming rounded peaks. Do not overbeat. It's easier to fold the egg white foam into the cake batter at the soft peak stage. When the foam has reached the soft peak stage, fold it into the cake batter with a spatula. Folding prevents collapsing the foam as the egg whites are mixed with the cake batter. Continue folding until the egg whites are thoroughly combined with the cake batter. No uncombined egg white should be visible. Pour the cake batter into the cake pan and place in the center of the oven. Bake the cake for about 30 minutes or until it's golden brown. Remove the cake from the oven and let it cool for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, loosen the cake from the sides of the pan so it can be removed in one piece. Turn the cake out of the pan onto a rack to cool. Once the cake has cooled, cut it gently with a serrated knife.